All right. So for those in the back, we'll start over again real quick. My name is Eric Zieser. I'm the global product manager, as Bill mentioned, for our compact equipment segment. So what that is for Case, our compact equipment segment is our skid steers, our compact track loaders, but also our backhoe loaders, our mini excavators, and our compact wheel loaders. So it's my privilege and honor to be here today to get to be the one to announce to you guys the exciting changes in our B Series skid steers and compact track loaders. So before we dive into the details, a quick highlight and refresh of our offering. As Bill mentioned, we do have 8 skid steers and 5 compact track loaders in our offering. And within that range, we've got a very exclusive option package of varying sizes, model offerings of radial, vertical, different horsepower ranges, different options, different control patterns of mechanical hand and foot, or electrohydraulic controls, trying to meet the operator needs for all types of operators, preferences, historic, current, and new generation. In addition, we still have multiple options of hydraulic flows, standard flow, EH high flow, ride control, self-leveling, all kinds of features like that. Most of that, same as Alpha Series, carried into the B Series. One other point of interest also, prior to jumping into the B Series, for everybody's awareness, the skid steers and compact track loaders for Case worldwide are manufactured in Wichita, Kansas, right here in the United States of America. So all the work done in the B Series has been done by our team in Wichita. They've had a lot of pride and a lot of hard work has gone in to developing, testing, and now manufacturing these B Series skid steer loaders in Wichita, Kansas. So everybody good still? Can you hear me okay still? All right. This whole reset, lost my train of thought for a second, but we'll jump into the B Series in just a second. As Bill mentioned, he's gonna be my Vanna White, but I want to call him Vanna White. I'm going to call him Jeff or Rob today, because for those of you that have been to our Tomahawk facilities, what we have in our Customer Experience Center Tomahawk, the way we function there is that we've got an indoor viewing center. When you have a large group of people that come there, you can sit inside in the comfort of the indoor experience, have TVs, be able to talk to a large group at once. And meanwhile, outside, we've got our expert operators out there operating the machine, giving you that operator view and experience of the machine inside the cab. Given we can't all pile inside the cab today, we're gonna kind of do this with Bill and I here as we go forward. However,
and I think we want to pivot the group a little bit so that you can see the screen, because a lot of what he's going to talk through is going to be on the screen.
Yep. So before we have Bill do his skills and jumping inside the cab for us, the reason we're doing this is that when we look at the machines today, standing here in front of the machines, for those of you that are familiar with our current offering, the machines kind of look very similar to our Alpha Series. So as the age-old saying goes, the true beauty lies within. The same can be said about our new B Series. The beauty of the B Series is within the operator compartment and also below the machine. So it's really inside that we've done a lot of work in re-engineering the critical components of the electrical, the software, the hydraulics to improve these machines and to try to build on having the best machines to compete in harsh working environments and tough climates that our operators put them in. On top of that, the machines have been re-engineered to stand up the toughest tests. So with that, Bill, let's have you take a jump inside. We'll do a little walk around and talk to you guys and show you some of the new features in the B Series. So as Bill's jumping in, one quick comment here, very similar to today. We've maintained our wide cabin and our low entry threshold. The benefit obviously of that low entry threshold is the easy in and out of the cab. But in addition to that, that low entry threshold is complementing our industry-leading 360-degree visibility, giving him a good sight line down to the cutting edge of the bucket or running attachments. You can see that bucket. You can see the bucket teeth right there from his bird's eye view. In addition to our 360-degree visibility, we've got large side windows and a large rear curved glass inside the machine. And the importance really, more than the glass, is what's behind the glass. So on a Case skid steer and CTL, specifically on a vertical lift machine, you look behind there, you can't even see the H-link. And as Bill looks up as well through our rear view mirror, we've got a large wide rear view mirror that projects the entire width of the cab through that rear window and even side windows. And there's no obstruction of an H-link or anything through that back window, with a rear hood that's quite low as well, giving great visibility. So all that is maintained the same as our Alpha Series, but however, we've done also other steps to improve the visibility through backup cameras we'll talk about shortly. So we'll do kind of a bottom-up approach now in the cab. Starting down inside the cab, like I mentioned before, our really wide cab has been improved upon a little bit. We've redesigned the left-hand bottom side. You can kind of see, hard to see past Bill's foot there, but We've got a new cup holder storage area down the left-hand side. Tuck that in, give you more space for the feet, but still giving the operator convenience of that cup holder and storage area. And then as we move up a little bit in the knee and the thigh area, we've pushed out those control pods, giving an operator more legroom inside the cabin, more comfort of the operator, obviously. As we talk about job sites, the importance of the operator being comfortable leads to productivity, better savings for the customer, better profit for the business, all important things to keep in mind. Next, as we move up, is the joysticks, where the operator's hands are all day long on the joysticks. We've redesigned the joysticks, brand new layout of switches, controls, providing fingertip joystick triggers, and also all the key features right there at the touch of the palm of the hands. These joysticks have a smaller head than our previous generation, so a little more comfortable for the operator's hands, and also a little better feel of the buttons and the position of the buttons that he's using most frequently. As we move up in the cabin, the rest of the posts, all the displays, the buttons, the switches have changed going up those posts. But one key aspect of it is on the right-hand side is from the startup operation. We've taken pride in simplifying the operation of startup and operating the machine. We've gone to a keyless start like today, but it's a very intuitive style of a startup now, with a almost automotive-like, without a key, turning and starting the machine there. And then as you go to operate the machine, a large push to operate button to release the park brake, and that enables your hydraulics to then operate. Very simple, intuitive for any operator. We know that a skidded compact tractor loader with such a large industry, utilized in many, many applications and industries, constantly new operators jumping in the machine, so very important to be able to be simple to operate and intuitive. In addition, the hand throttle there, you can see the second one down, used to be a mechanical or a lever, is now a rotary hand dial to better precisely dial in whether it's your attachment flow you're looking for or your speed, dial that into the right RPM setting you're looking for. One last comment on the cab there before jumping into the meat of it is one Bluetooth radio. There at the right-hand top side, we now have a standard Bluetooth radio, once again focused on operator comfort, performance, safety, having to take those phone calls as required via Bluetooth, keeping the hands and eyes where they need to be on the operation. So Bill, if you don't mind, let's move up to the display. Really the key aspect of the B series is this new 8-inch LCD display. This has a couple industry exclusive items on it, not only the size and color of it, but it's an industry exclusive split screen on there, giving us full visibility of that rear view camera all the time. So the rear view camera is standard with the LCD display, and it's got two modes you can have it set in. The way it is in right now, Bill's got the camera on all the time, so not distracting. So this guy, whatever he's doing, he can have visibility of what's behind him constantly, and he still has his main machine parameters in the bottom of the screen there where you can see his tack, fuel level, all that stuff constantly. However, you can also change that to be a backup camera that's in reverse only. So if you push that button, Bill, you can turn that camera off for us. And when he turns the camera off, now at the top part of the screen is now dedicated to your trips. You have two trip settings, which is kind of like a job site setting. And depending on the operator passcode that's put in, it recognizes what job site he is working on, and then now controls your stats on that job site if you're monitoring the hours of usage, fuel consumption on the job site, things that are billable, that type of stuff that you need to know what was done on that specific job site.
And just two?
There's two, a trip A and trip B, yes ma'am. The other key feature of the display and layout, if you look down to it, Bill, there's a button there that has the ISO and the H pattern. ISO and H pattern, same as today. However, very easy to operate now. We got a large button there. Toggle it, hold it down for 3 seconds. You'll hear a beep inside the cab so that you know you purposefully meant to change from ISO to H pattern. We don't want to mess anybody up. And then that'll light up, and the operators change the pattern from ISO to H, allowing varying operating styles to be efficient. And regardless of which pattern you're in, we now have a dedicated section on this display for the control settings of the EH. We know how important it is to be able to properly manage the speed of your hydraulic fluid, your drive. So we've got 4 dedicated buttons here in the bottom left to control the EH settings. Starting from left to right, we've got a low, and then a medium, and then a high. Those 3 settings are kind of a simple way to adjust from low, medium, high sensitivity. If you want to quickly modify, whether you're doing an application where you're just trying to do some quick hogging out of dirt, put it in a high setting, very responsive. All of a sudden you're going to a more precise fine grading, be a little smoother. Go to a low setting very quickly and easily. However, the 4th button is a custom setting. Custom setting, no different than we had previously in our previous generation. However, now a little simpler to get into, and now modify that per user code setting. So with this display, when the customer jumps in, starts it up, he enters his passcode, that passcode can recognize how he set up the custom EasyEH in the system. So Bill, if you don't mind, jump into the menu quick. Let's take a quick look at what they can modify in a custom EH setting. So Bill jumped in the menu, toggling down to the EH custom. In the EasyEH custom settings, you now see that in there, the operator can exactly modify whether he wants the drive speed to be slower or faster, whether he wants the hydraulic flow to run faster or slower, whether he wants to change sensitivity of his joysticks, so that depending on his application, his feel, he can have that machine set up perfectly for him in that job site. All right, thank you, Bill. Another key feature while we're in these menus we'll talk about on the B series is our new economy mode settings. We now have several features built in with the economy mode that allows you to better utilize the machine from a fuel performance standpoint and also from a protecting the vehicle depending on certain issues. So in there we got economy mode on or off, and then engine protection. So when you're in the economy setting, what's that doing is that's an auto shutdown basically, which will shut down your engine after a certain amount of idle time, but also an auto shut off of the system. If the machine is shut off, for example, you leave the battery, you leave the ignition key on, it'll cut that out after a certain period of time to avoid draining your batteries. In addition, we do have the engine protection, which is watching for key faults or key issues in the engine, temperature, oil pressure. They will also force you into an engine shutdown to protect that engine from any major catastrophic failures. All right, thank you, Bill. Let's jump back out of that one and talk a little bit about the other benefits here. Creep mode. So as he scrolls down to the creep mode, a new feature also in the B series are creep mode. I jumped over it quick on the left-hand joystick. I didn't want to steal a thunder yet until we got to here. But as you look at that display, Bill was showing there a 1 through 25, or 1 through, at the moment is at 25 I think, but at 1 through 100 in that display. In the display you'll see what setting you're on, but the creep mode is managed by the left-hand operators rabbit and turtle to go faster in increments of 1. And for those of you that are not familiar with what a creep mode is, it's basically a cruise control on the vehicle. So if you're running a cold planer, for example, where you want to have your RPMs all the way up for high full flow of the hydraulics, yet you want your ground speed to be very slow, and if you have your RPMs all the way up and your ground speed you want to be very sensitive, you put it in creep mode, you push that joystick all the way forward, and then with the touch of the button, he can adjust the speed of the vehicle in increments of 1 all the way to 100. And while he's doing that, that'll be visible on the display showing which creep mode setting you're in at that moment. It's also a new feature on the B series today. Next benefit of this display is the overall maintenance. When we talk about maintenance, we now have all the maintenance items bundled into the display. So no different than before. Our maintenance intervals didn't change from the Alpha series. However, now in the display, it makes it very easy for the operator, the service technician, the fleet manager to manage all 12 of the different intervals, whether he's doing them together or separate. He can now see when his last interval was done, what is the recommended OEM service interval from Case, and then he can reset that. If he finishes the service and wants to reset that hour meter, he can track all 12 of those independently on the display. And then lastly, Bill, is the fault code screen. Hopefully you don't see any fault codes pop up here, but we do know it's an unnecessary evil that with electronics emissions, at times there may be a fault code. On a lot of machines, a fault code pops up, you get a number and a letter that have no clue what that means. The benefit of the 8-inch LCD display is we can now put in there text, descriptions, explain to the operator what is going on, give him the opportunity to understand the issue, potentially diagnose it on his own, and see if he can resolve the issue before having to call a dealer, make a service call, or avoid unnecessary downtime on the job site. So with that, I think that kind of goes through all the new key features inside the display. If there's no questions on the display, we'll have Bill jump out and we'll finish a quick walk around to not make this too long. So while Bill's jumping out, I'm gonna have him walk around to the back of the machine, still with his camera. To make it easy for all of us, we'll stand here, look at the TV screen. But really what we've maintained on the B series is Case's DNA in general, all of our product lines, backhoes, mini excavators, everything, is ground line serviceability is critical for us, keep the operator safe on the ground, but then also a group maintenance. So all of your daily checks, fills, and service is done at the rear of the machine, all grouped together. So on this machine, this is a 90 horsepower, so this machine does have DEF and SCR, but there you see your DEF fill, your hydraulic oil fill, diesel fill, and all of your oil checks and filters are all right there in the back of the machine, very easy to get to. In addition, while we're talking service, let's talk emissions for a minute. Tier 4 final. I mentioned earlier that we've got a wide range of engine horsepowers, and obviously that's driven by not only the size of the machine, but also with Tier 4 final emissions requirements. There's two different varying horsepower ranges. You know, the 74 horsepower range, we provide a system that's no def, so a very simple machine, a DOC only, no regeneration on any of our models, except for the single smallest model in our lineup, the SR160, has DPF. The rest of the machines are a maintenance-free, no DPF system. As we get to the 90 horsepower larger machines, they do require the filling of DEF, but still, once again, no regen and no maintenance of filters required. And then lastly, from a service standpoint, unfortunately we can't show you today, but as I mentioned before, is that the B Series, beauty lies within. We saw within the cab all the changes there. The rest of the features are all hidden for you guys inside the vehicle. So the re-engineering I talked about, the electrical, the software, the hydraulics, with two bolts in the back, we can tilt the cab forward. So if the customer requires any major service actions required of the vehicle, very simple to tilt that cab forward. And when he does that, any technician or operator will realize that the inside of the machine's been relaid out, really to make the machine stand out to the toughest environments. So from an electrical standpoint, from a hydraulic standpoint, reinforce the routing, reinforce the ports, and really trying to make sure we prevent dust collection and dust from getting inside there, all the stuff that's harsh on those components inside the vehicle. So a lot of care has been taken in making sure this vehicle is built to stand up to the toughest conditions out there. So with that, I think that kind of concludes the walk around, the highlights and the features. So.
And I am going to shout at you now because as we found out, we can only use one transmitter at once. So I'm just going to talk loud. No, you're good. You're good because you might have to answer some questions.
I was going to pass the buck.
So with that, just to recap, the announcement today is the complete relaunch of the Case skid steer compact track loader line. This is available today. Machines are shipping to dealers in the U.S. today. The global launch will be closer to ConExpo, but these are available for sale in North America right now. So
The entire lineup?
the entire lineup
Entire
is
lineup,
available for sale in North America as of today.
So we have 6 of the 13 here, but the entire lineup went to a B. So all model numbers remain the same from Alpha to B series. Just added the B to all of them to indicate the B series on all 13 units.
So I know there's a lot going on today. We're gonna hang out. We'll take some questions now if people want to ask questions in the group, or we can break off into individual groups and have individual conversations afterwards. So anyone have any questions right off the bat regarding the B series?
When the display informs you that you have so many hours to service transmission fluid or whatever it is that because it is pre-programmed to let you know according to the number of hours, or is it because there's an analysis going on internally that tells you, oh, this is starting to get dirty, you better replace this in 10 hours?
No, there's no added sensors to the vehicle being able to track oil performance right now. So the vehicle is set to the pre-required hour intervals in that display. So whether it be 500 hours, 1,000 hours, depending on the component, and it's tracking to that. So that's it right now.
Have you, I know it's brand new, but have you done any checks versus the Alpha series as far as fuel consumption, total cost of ownership, anything like that?
From an operational engine standpoint and hydraulic, let's say performance of PSI and how much you're taking out of the vehicle from a power standpoint, there's no change.
Okay.
So really from a fuel performance standpoint, it should be equivalent to Alpha series for the most part. There has been changes in the electrical, the software, the drive systems. So some changes that could impact operator to operator, but in general, fuel performance equivalent to Alpha series.
Okay.
Which is already a good thing before as well. So.
One thing I thought of, just to tack on to Mr. Roth's question, these are compatible with the Case SiteWatch telematics solution. They do not come standard with SiteWatch, but it is a feature that you can add at the time of purchase.
Yeah, so an item we didn't have Bill showing the display screen there that we can show you guys later on as well is that no difference than in the SiteWatch system where you're monitoring all 40 of your cam parameters. Also in that display, certain operators like a little more technical than others, but you can go in there and monitor if you want to see what the operating temperature of your charge air cooler is at any instant moment. All your cam parameters are visible in that display, so you can track those and see where you're at. If you think it's running a little bit hot in your hydraulic fluid, for example, look at that display in there, in addition to SiteWatch as well. Thanks, Bill.
Erica, what would you say were the primary drivers behind the redesign? What were some of the things you wanted to do with the B series?
The focus really was on operator comfort, operator performance are the two main things. So operator inside the cab, making him comfortable, and then from a performance standpoint, giving the features required to just cruise control, improving the drive systems, the software of all that, and then also focusing always on reliability, because that's what's really important to the customer, is keeping the machine running and making the machine reliable to the harsh conditions they have to deal with. So. Yes, sir.
Is the control panel removable or is it fixed?
The LCD display,
Yeah.
that is removable, yes, sir. You can see the way that it's designed into there. It's not necessarily integrated into the plastic, but it is hard bolted inside there. You can't take it out very easily without being inside the cabin, but it is removable. And then with regards to that question, I should comment about it. So the offering of that LCD display on our machines, like here with the EH controls, the LCD display and camera does come standard on all units equipped with EH. And then on the mechanical controls, for example, if we look at the SR210 later on, it's a mechanical control unit. It also has all the new features in there from a startup, push to operate, but the display is not there because the display is optional. However, they can option up to get the display and camera on a mechanical controlled machine as well. Only difference will be is that obviously you won't have the EH control settings or the creep control, but all the rest of it from a maintenance, fault codes, camera will all be the same on mechanical or EH. Thank you. Anything else?
Any other questions from the group? All right, with that, if you did not, because I know we had some people come up towards the end, if you did not get a press kit from us, by all means, we'll distribute additional press kits back by the front desk there. There's water, soda, chips, cookies, power bars. Help yourself. And then find myself, Brandon, Eric,